Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, August 15th. We are up early this morning. I've already walked the dog, crunched the numbers. And if you're new to my channel, every Monday we go through the numbers from the lowest earners to the top. This is a warning. This is not necessarily to promote gig work. I am just sharing with you guys my real numbers so that if you decide to get into gig work with Spark, Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever, rideshare, that you guys know the real picture. So I do this every week, share upfront exactly how much I'm making, and we're going to start it off with the lowest earners first and work our way to the top. So this week, I did not intend on doing a whole lot of food delivery, hence DoorDash or Grubhub. I did have 5 hours of Grubhub scheduled yesterday, but I'm going to talk about why I did make that in a few minutes. But Grubhub this week, I worked 2 hours. I did 2 deliveries, made a total of $19.35. That averaged out to $9.60 an hour this week with Grubhub. And both those hours that I did it, it was kind of just impromptu. Nothing else was going on. Turned on the app. That was not scheduled block time. So I normally don't do many orders for Grubhub when it's not scheduled block time because it doesn't pay that much. Next was DoorDash. I did DoorDash a whole hour this week. 2 orders in the same hour. I made $20.50. So the hourly rate is $20.50. Lyft. Now Lyft offered me an incentive of 40 rides this week. I didn't do it. I think I did like 4 rides. This week I did 2 hours of Lyft. I made $32.13 an hour, and that averaged out to $16 per hour. So, and that's kind of why I don't do Lyft. In my market, Lyft doesn't make as much money. So you definitely, Uber is a lot better in my market. Different markets, different rules, right? Every market's different. So Spark this week, I worked a total of 29 hours. I actually worked Spark more than I did any other app combined. There was a few hours there that I didn't have orders, or they just weren't good orders, and I ended up either sitting in the parking lot talking with you guys on the phone, or just didn't have any money during those hours. But I did have a total of 29 hours work this week. I made $844. That averaged out to $29.10 per hour. Actually had a lot of shop and delivers, which were pretty good, and it helped my ratings a bit. And that'll be another video, but it was a good week for Spark, but it was a lot of work as well. Uber this week, I drove a total of 28 hours. 28 hours, made $961. That averaged out to $34.32. So overall this week, I worked a grand total of 62 hours, made $1,877, and that averaged out to $30.27 an hour. Now, on this channel, if you're new to the channel, I like to average in all my costs for the week as well, so you guys can get a real picture of what I'm actually spending. Because a lot of people post all the time, and even some of you guys as subscribers, you guys will post in below, you know, that, hey, I've started, I've worked this many hours, and this is how much I grossed. And that's not how much you net, that's how much you grossed. And it's important that everybody, when you're reading those posts or you're watching this video, you understand that there's a lot of costs that go into everything as well. So this week, I drove a ridiculous amount of miles this week. I drove 1,500 miles. In my vehicle, I have a hybrid vehicle that gets 38.4 miles to the gallon. It's a Toyota Sienna minivan, so I can carry a lot of passengers. It gives me a lot of flexibility for passengers, XL orders or extra large orders when it comes to Spark. So it gives me a lot of options there. I spent this week $39 or 39 gallons of fuel to drive that 1,500 miles in my area, and this is not to brag because every time I post these, somebody that's in a really crappy part of the country sees this number on the fuel costs and vents a little, and that's fine. You guys can always vent in the comments. I don't really remove any comments unless it's spam or promoting something that I don't believe in. And when I say something I don't believe in, I really don't. Politics, I just stay out of it. I'm like Switzerland, especially like as an Uber driver. I've learned don't ever talk politics. Just try to avoid it. I've got a perfect 5.0 rating on Uber, and I've done like I think almost 3,000 rides. And the only ding I ever got, 2 dings ever, was one, somebody had trashed my vehicle and I steam cleaned the carpet with some cleaner and it had a really strong smell. And my first customer noticed it. Well, I had pointed it out. I said, if there's strong smell. And she was like, oh, I didn't notice. But then she dinged me. And then the other one was a guy who worked for a political action group, and I decided to get into the ring and talk to him a little bit about politics and give him my 2 cents, and we didn't agree. So I don't talk politics. I might remove those posts, but I digress. Sorry, guys. So fuel in my area, $3.56 per gallon. That is 25 cents less than last week. So ever since Joe Biden went over to Saudi Arabia, fuel has been coming down, and in fact, in this last month, it is $1.07 less than it was 30 days ago, which is thankful. I'm grateful that we are turned the corner on that. So this week I spent $139 on fuel. My vehicle depreciation, because I drove so many freaking miles, was $225 this month. Now, when I look at the different gig works, I think Uber, time-wise, Uber, I always do better. I mean, I make more money, but I put more miles on my car. And, you know, when I started out with a brand new vehicle, it's tough when you look at, say you have a 2021 and you have 87,000 miles on your vehicle already. Like when I go into the dealership and have the oil change, the kids are always like, this is a 2021, right? Like they're blown away by how many miles I've already racked up on this thing. So continuing on, this week I had the oil change, the tires rotated, and the cabin filters replaced. That was $95. Because I drive all the time and I do rideshare and Spark and a little bit of everything, I gotta have my vehicle clean at all times. So I pay a $35. I found a car wash that has vacuum cleaners. You vacuum your own car, but you drive through the car wash, and I love it. It's $35 a month. I save myself a lot of heartache. So if I get somebody like this weekend, it was raining a lot of customers, muddy boots and whatnot. And also, I met a fellow Spark driver one time that she was driving, and they removed an order from her, and she got notification that one of the associates said her vehicle was dirty. So always keep your car clean. And this lady, I know her. She keeps a meticulous vehicle. So I don't know if it was some kind of rope-a-dope or whatever, but always make sure you have your vehicle clean at all times if you can. It helps with your tips. Nobody wants to get into a dirty car, and also it helps you, your customers' products in there. You don't want it dirty. Okay, so after all those costs, I made $1,383 this week. That averages out to $22.30 per hour. Now, I have ranted before about how when my weekly income kind of dips down like this to 22, 20, in the low 20s, I'm kind of hemming and hawing. And some people are like, "What are you talking about? I'm in a market. I don't make close to that. You're just a whiner. You're just blah blah blah." I'm not doing these to be braggadocious. I'm not doing it to complain or whine. I'm just pointing out to you guys how much I'm actually making so that you can take a look at your own situations. Like if you have a smaller car, you don't have as many options as I do. Also, it's all about perspective, guys. I live in an area that is economically doing really well, and the cost of living here is, you know, it's not like West Coast or New York kind of prices or anything, but it can cost a lot to live here. And further, I left my job with the Department of Defense where I was making six figures. And I did that job and I was gone. There was a lot of sacrifice with that job. To make that kind of money, I was gone out on ships working overseas for 8 to 10 months a year. So I was not home very often. There was a lot of time away when I was out there playing sailor, where my wife was like, find something else to do. So I switched over to this gig work, which the wife's been really supportive and I love it. I like it. I like doing what I do. But when I'm looking at, is this a great job? I'm looking at the job I left, which had benefits, matching 401, you know, all these. Now, if you're a stay-at-home dad that hasn't worked in 10 years and you're getting into the fray, that's great money, you know? Or you're starting out young in your life and you're going to change your jobs 30 more times before you go into the grave. That's great. But I just want you guys to just know the broader picture and my perspective, okay? So I'm not pooing on anybody. If you think $22 is good income for your lifestyle, then that's great. Everybody has their own bar that they set and goals for themselves. So 22.30. And last week, I want to take a quick look at what I made last week. So last week I made $30.81 per hour. So that just shows you how up and down things can go in your weekly earnings. And I think Gigwork's a great opportunity to put cash in your pocket, but it might not be something you want to do full time. And this week, the reason why I drove so many miles, the reason why my earnings are down so much, like I said, I was scheduled to do a 5-hour block with Grubhub yesterday. On average, I earn between $20 and $30 an hour with Grubhub. Typically, sometimes it's higher, sometimes a little lower. But when I'm on the blocks, I usually do fairly well, especially on a Sunday evening. So yesterday I was supposed to go out for the 5 hours, and it was around 4 o'clock in the evening, and I had 30 minutes to wait before my block was supposed to start. Typically, I just go, you know, clean up the car, get something to drink, take a break before I start my block. But I was near the airport, so I pulled into the airport, and the airport fares were surging. And there was lots of drivers there, but there was a lot of surges and a couple planes coming in. I was like, let me see if I can grab a quick ride before my block starts for Grubhub. So I was going to do a quick ride with Uber. And it ended up being a whammy. So Uber this last week in my area started doing these new real-time fares, upfront pricing. They let the drivers know exactly how much you're going to make, and they put the pickup spot, the destination, and they put the miles. But in this new format, the miles, like the pickup and the destination addresses are big, but then the miles are like in small print underneath, and you really got to look at your phone and take time to look at it. Well, I'm at the airport, it's surge pricing, and I see a fare that's, I want to say it was like $168. I'll put it up. But the fare was going to Westfield, Wisconsin. Now, in my mind, I was like, Westfield. I always kind of do the math real quick. I was like, Westfield's like 65, 70 miles away. And the offer was like $160 something. maybe 170, close to 170. So I was like, I can be there in an hour and back, 2 hours, $160. Knock it. I don't care if I miss my Grubhub block because it's broken into a couple of sections. I was like, I'll miss the first segment of my block. Not a big deal. Let's go do this ride. And it was an Uber X ride, and I thought it was surged. So I go to pick up the customer, young girl from Puerto Rico, contracted to come to Wisconsin. And I'm like, okay, so load all of her bags, hit the start the trip, and all of a sudden it goes 160 something miles. And not to where I was thinking. I was thinking Brookfield, not Westfield. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I already got her bags and she's in the vehicle. She speaks good English, but you know, it's her first trip to Wisconsin. In my mind, I'm like, John, just tell her, oh, I made a mistake. This is too far. Unload her bags. Let them call another Uber, cancel the ride. But I was like, no, that's not right. The customer's in the vehicle. You took the order. You didn't pay attention to the destination. You didn't look at the miles close enough. Get your butt rolling, John. So I drove 160 something miles up to her destination, which was a small motel for some factory that she was going to work in. And then drove all the way back. It ended up being it was a solid 4 hours of my time. And by the time I got back, I was just like, I'm wiped out. I'm not. The day's done. So that was a wrap. That was my whammy of the week, you know? So you think about it, you're like, all right, $168 going two ways. now we're at $84 each way. I mean, I made like 50 cents a mile on that trip. It was horrible. Horrible. So, rookie mistake. And that's gig work. That's what we do. Sometimes you zig and you should have zagged. We had the Great Taste of the Midwest here this weekend, which is 200 different breweries come to town, and they put on a festival, and I think they pay like $75, $80 per ticket to get in, and they can drink all they want to drink from all these breweries for 5 hours. Dropped off a few people for that event. I did not want to pick up any people, and the prices really didn't surge a whole lot. The city offered buses and like $5 cabs anywhere within 5 miles, so the cabs were busy, but rideshare, they kind of froze us out this year, so there wasn't a lot of opportunities there. So, and there was also the King Street Block Party, which is another big event down by the university. A lot of students back, big party, 2 blocks long. Usually get a lot of rides. Well, this year it rained, and it pretty much rained out the event because nobody wants to stand out on the rain and drink. At least most of them didn't want to. And then I don't want to pick up those customers afterward because they're all muddy and everything else. So. But that was the week wrap up. I hope you guys get something out of these videos. Make sure you like, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the algorithm. I'm going to keep trying to do a video every day. I see that, you know, there's a lot more comments coming in, which I love. You guys are really helping. I got a couple more ideas for videos shortly. I'm going to see if I can knock one out later today. If I can, I will. I do have to get going. I got to get driving because I am a gig worker first and a YouTuber second. So have a great one, guys. Thanks again for all your help, and we'll catch you on the next one.